I was going to start the show by saying, ho, 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 welcome to Cinema Savants, but I'm not going to. Anyway, welcome to Cinema Savants. He's Todd Vandenberg, I'm Rob Steele, and it's the Christmas episode. Because no other holiday on the planet deserves an episode unto itself, because there are no holidays that have more movies made about it than Christmas. As evidenced by the Hallmark Christmas movie channel that my wife has been binge watching, making me want to throw up. I'm just saying, Christmas carols make me nauseous anyway. It's just me, I guess, at this point. I started overdosing on Christmas stuff when... Oh, what was it? It was the Veterans Day mattress sale. Ho, 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 buy a mattress. I don't know what veterans, mattresses, and Santa Claus have to do with each other.
Wow.
I'm just saying. But we're here to talk about Christmas movies this week because Christmas is a whopping 2 days from now. So bringing up the fact that the Cinema Savants website has a small store where you can buy t-shirts and pillows and posters and stuff. You know what? It's not going to get there before Christmas, but go buy something anyway. I'm just saying. So Christmas movies from, there's what, 7 or 8 billion of these things?
And that's just on the Hallmark Channel.
And that's just on the,
Yeah, the good news is there actually are some good Christmas movies. So
where do we want to start with this?
Good question.
I don't know that we're going to do like a top 10. We can't do it. It's going to vary from person to person anyway. And we don't have, I don't know, I haven't looked up numbers to back any of this up.
Yeah, and it would vary. And just some of our favorite Christmas movies, and we can name a couple that are to be avoided, like the Black Death,
Polar Express. Avoid that movie like the plague. I love Tom Hanks, but he plays quite literally everyone except maybe the small African American girl who I think might actually be played by Oprah. Tom Hanks is everyone, and the first time you see it, hey, that's fine. By the end of it, you're going, he's everywhere. And then you turn and you look at your spouse who's sitting on the other side of the couch with you and go, oh my God, it's Tom Hanks. And no, this movie is, this is a horror movie. It should be pushed back to Halloween in my mind. Because it's one of the creepiest movies ever, isn't it? I thought it was.
It's pretty creepy.
Thank you.
It is indeed pretty creepy. One that I would avoid, and this will not be a popular choice, but one I would avoid is Home Alone.
Never cared for that.
Takes place during Christmas. Is it funny? Yes, it's funny, but basically it's a little kid constantly beating the hell out of 2 really moronic thieves. And yes, they deserve it, I suppose. But it's mean-spirited. The whole concept that the family forgets the kid, they don't even realize that they're off on their trip overseas and they left him home alone. Is it funny? Yeah, it's funny.
Is that where they got the title from?
But I was just insulted that this was, for a time, this was the biggest box office success of any comedy. Made more money than any comedy at one point. And it's just, seriously, how awful is our collective taste that this thing, is it? Yeah, like I said, it's just kind of gross. In a way, the whole concept is sucks, and it's just this little kid torturing these guys over and over and over. And the concept of 2 robbers coming to rob this house, and then they're going to get this kid, and they're going to do terrible things to him if they finally get after him. It's like, no, that's not really a cool thing. And yeah, I understand. For a lot of people, it's their favorite movie. I kind of think it sucks.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that. Although you brought up torture. And that's actually the theme of a lot of Christmas movies, if you want to think about it. I mean, just look at the cover of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and there's Chevy Chase being electrocuted.
Yeah.
But A Christmas Carol, right? The Charles Dickens story has been made and remade 5 billion times. Yeah. And is that not kind of a torture movie? Because here comes the ghost coming to torture you because you did bad things in your past. I'm just saying. Although I want to ask you this, I think my favorite version of this, with with the exception of one scene, is probably Scrooged.
Scrooged is a list of the best movies.
It was a fun take on it, with Bill Murray as Ebenezer Scrooge or whatever. My one problem with it was at the very end of the movie when, for no particular reason, they all stand around and sing an Annie Lennox song that has never been released before this movie, like it's one of the classic Christmas carols. Did that bug you? That annoyed the crap out of me.
I love that song.
I'm not saying it's a bad song. I'm just like, people watching the movie when it first comes out, they're all going, how do they know the words? That just got released like Tuesday,
They're on a show and they have the teleprompter in front of them, possibly. I really, really like Scrooge. And yes, some terrible things happen in Scrooge to Bill Murray's character, to Frank Cross, who's the stand-in for Ebenezer Scrooge. And he deserves it. He's an awful person. There's so many funny parts to it. Carol Kane, look, Frank, it's a toaster. I mean, just, oh my God. Terrific movie, and Bill Murray actually imbues it with a lot of heart. And Karen Allen is wonderful in it. I mean, I think it's a absolutely great Christmas movie.
I'll agree, except for that one bit with the song. That just it just took me right out of it,
So it was at the end.
Oh, that's true. I mean, better than A Muppet Christmas Carol, which was just irksome to me. There's a lot of Christmas movies I find irksome. I
never had much for that one either, honestly.
I mean, go back to 1964 for a minute.
Yes.
Come with me to several years before I was born. Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, the one that everyone has seen, has gotten a lot of press lately because isn't it really about bullying and torturing of young Rudolph and parental abuse? Because, we're not accepting our son for the way he is. Let us cover up his nose with black plastic or whatever it was supposed to actually have been. Your thoughts on Rudolph? I mean, I liked it. The Island of Misfit Toys I thought was cute.
Yeah, I think it is, in a sense, it is about bullying. But is it about bullying is good, or is it about overcoming bullying?
I'd go with overcoming.
And being true to yourself, and then gaining acceptance because people finally saw, who he really is. It's not because his nose glows red. That's what Santa liked, but because he overcame all of this. And the little elf who wanted to really be a dentist, and turns out that turned out to be necessary. They weren't misfits after all. I think even looking back through today's filter at this movie, it still absolutely works because they all found homes. The misfit toys all found homes. It's not about, you suck, we don't need you. It's about overcoming that attitude. So I think if anything, looking at it through today's filter makes it even better.
Although I did like the Verizon commercial a few years ago with, what was it? The Island of Misfit Toys has a new toy. Oh, it's the old iPhone. What? All right. Meanwhile, back at the Christmas movies. I don't know. Where do you want to go with this? Because I'm looking, scrolling through.
Yeah, you had mentioned A Christmas Carol and how often A Christmas Carol has been done, and there are several really good versions. In addition to the wild takeoffs like Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, which actually isn't bad. But to me, there are three main versions of A Christmas Carol that are really well done, but one stands out, and it's actually made for TV. 1984, George C. Scott stars as Scrooge, and it's just called A Christmas Carol. And he is fantastic because he's freaking George C. Scott. And it's really strange because he's the only American in the cast. Everyone else is British. The setting is beautiful. They actually filmed it in the area that Dickens was describing back in 1845.
Something like that. Yeah.
I mean, it's just beautifully done. And Scott he's the perfect Scrooge because he's such a bastard, because Scrooge was. And God, the acting is phenomenal. It looks beautiful. To me, the best version of A Christmas Carol is the one with George C. Scott. And it's out there for streaming. I don't think it's free anywhere. But, spend a few bucks and rent it, or buy it for $10 on Blu-ray, I think. So, and there are some other great versions. Like there's a 1935 version, 38 version from Hollywood. There's a 51 version with Alistair Sim from Great Britain, which is really good. But the George C. Scott absolutely nails it.
I mean, there's two. Doctor Who has redone it twice since 2005.
Yes, there are.
Although I think the first one actually worked better, where they actually had. We've just been talking about him and his name escaped. The guy who wrote it, Dickens. Charles Dickens himself was in one of their first version when Christopher Eccleston was the Doctor, and it worked.
So, Literally, there probably have been over 100 versions, easily, like you said. Most of them are worth watching. And yeah, that Doctor Who special, that not special, but that episode was really good. I do remember that. Good stuff.
Let's go back to some of the classic non-Christmas Carol versions of Christmas movies. For example, what did you think of, A Christmas Story? Because frankly, I could not stand that movie.
And no, this is one where we'll disagree, because I really like A Christmas Story. And has it been overexposed? Well, if you've got cable, yes. Because it's
just a touch.
24 hours, Christmas Day, every year. But I still think it's a very funny, sweet story. And I can totally see how some people would be like, well, just like with Home Alone. Most people are going to like Home Alone, and to me it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
So, your take on The Christmas Story. What is it?
For me, my take on A Christmas Story, and I don't know how I have done this in my head, I have gotten it confused with the movie With Six You Get Egg Roll.
That's really weird, Rob.
Somehow in my head, those movies got crossed back in 1980, whatever, and I don't know what to make of it anymore. The whole, I don't know. There's something about, I think it's the way, because I don't know that I really acknowledged A Christmas Story as a movie until Home Alone came out, and I hated Home Alone so much that the kid in A Christmas Story has started to look like Macaulay Culkin, only with glasses, and that he's eaten something. So
yeah. Yes, he does look like he's eaten something compared to Macaulay. I like him. I like Peter Billingsley in the film, but I can see where some people might think it's too nostalgic, it's too cloying, maybe. But I really enjoy A Christmas Story. But yeah, I can see also if you've seen it like 87 times because you watched it nothing but it on Christmas Day because you had nothing else to do, sadly. And especially if you mix it up with Six You Get Egg Roll.
I don't know how the hell that happened. I really don't.
I really don't. Because that's really strange, Rob.
I just work here, man. I don't pretend to understand.
Because of the Christmas dinner in the Chinese restaurant? Who knows? Anyway.
I don't know. Maybe my parents rented the two and I left halfway through one, came back halfway through the other and went, the story has changed. I don't understand.
Could be it.
Let's see. Back to 1947, Miracle on 34th Street.
Tread lightly, Rob. Yes.
I'm actually completely neutral on this movie. I don't hate it, but at the same time, I'm like, it was a movie.
Yeah, I love this movie. It's Edmund Gwynn plays Kris Kringle. That's his name. He's a happy old guy who thinks he's Santa Claus and gets into a bit of an argument with someone. He's employed by Macy's. Gets in an argument with a bitter jerk who works there, and they decide that he's crazy because he really thinks he's Santa Claus, and then there's a trial to determine whether or not he really is Santa Claus.
Which is a bizarre concept if you think about it.
Very bizarre concept, and has a great finish. It's just extremely well done. Gwen is perfect. I mean, he's just this kindly old guy who maybe he is Santa Claus is basically what you'll see at the end. Doesn't really solve it one way or the other, which again, brilliantly done.
The bad Matlock episode. No, I'm sorry. That was a joke. I'm kidding.
And Natalie Wood, I think she was 10 when she in this. If maybe 8. She's excellent. I mean, a lot of kid actors are just terrible, and she is amazingly good in this.
See Home Alone. For bad kid actors.
And watch the black and white version. Don't watch the colorized version because it's not really that well done, and some of the colors are a little off. Just deal with it.
I think the way it was best described to me once was Ted Turner got out his coloring book.
Yeah.
And with crayon redid frame by frame, and that doesn't work at all.
No, it doesn't.
Similar with the next movie, which is a lot of people consider it the Christmas movie, which may or may not be. It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, and I consider it the Christmas movie. Beautifully done.
It is.
And it had some important things to say about community and friendship and what really matters in life. Jimmy Stewart's done A lot of really good movies and played a lot of great roles. And I think this is his best role. Frank Capra is the director, and he was very much a populist director and all about uplifting the common man kind of stuff. And it's just, basically a guy feels like, as if you don't know the plot, for those two of you who've never heard of it, a guy who basically comes to the point where he feels he's wasted his life and decides to end it all, that everyone else will be better off without him. And he's shown that things were much better with him. So, beautiful movie, absolutely beautiful movie, beautifully acted, great stuff, and a lot of it. It makes it sound like I made it sound like it's really heavy. It's not. It's hilarious in many parts of it. Really, really good movie.
I don't know, you said uplifting the common man, and my first thought was, if you're Republican, you won't like it. Oh, sorry.
Well, there is a character in there who fits the caricature of the person who only, basically, he's greed, the embodiment of greed. He's actually out Scrooge's Scrooge. He's just an awful person. So, and some people don't like the film because the bad guy doesn't really get punished, and he doesn't. But he also doesn't get what he wants. So there's that.
You know, a Christmas movie where the bad guy gets punished. You can watch Lethal Weapon.
The bad guy, definitely.
Which takes place at Christmas. There's Christmas tree. One of the first scenes with Mel Gibson has Christmas trees. It's a drug deal going on in the middle of it, but it's got Christmas trees.
I'll say this: if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and I'm not going on either side of that, yeah.
I'll change your mind. I'll make it a Christmas movie by the time we're done with the show.
Yes, but if that is, so is Lethal Weapon.
Yeah,
for the same reasons. And we'll get to that.
Yeah,
and Lethal is it's a great movie. I mean, is there a lot of depth to it? It's like, no, but I mean, is it entertaining? Did it do what it wanted to do? Absolutely it did. And yes, it takes place during Christmas, and there are Christmas trees. So there.
It'll count. Let's see. I'm trying to think of where to go next. How about I'm going to pick Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. No, we're not going to. Now, see, this is something that's thrown me off, and it's not a movie I have seen. Mm-hmm. Although I have just scrolled into a section where we get movies like Christmas with the Cranks next to Batman Returns. What the hell is that? Okay, that was taking place at Christmas. No, I don't know. Maybe that is a Christmas movie, and I'm overthinking it. Meet Me in St. Louis is a Christmas movie?
Absolutely. It's a Christmas movie.
Like I said, I haven't seen that, so.
Not one of my favorite Christmas movies, but the perennial Christmas favorite song, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, from that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah, it's set during, not all during Christmas time, but that's part of it, where the family moves and they're losing all their friends, which of course is what the song touches on. And it's all about family and everything getting back together and everything working out wonderfully. It's not one of my favorite movies, but it's a very good movie. And yes, it's a Christmas movie, and Judy Garland is like at the peak of her career and sounds amazing. And yeah, that's one of the best Christmas songs ever. So just for that alone, deserves its spot as among the good Christmas movies.
Well, I said we wouldn't be doing like a top 10 list. Did you want to do like a top 3?
Yeah, we can do it. But before we get to that, I do want to mention
Yes, go ahead.
I want to mention The Grinch. There's a version out now at the theaters, which I haven't seen because I choose not to.
Right.
There was a version that came out a few years ago with the Jim Carrey, which is the reason I choose not to see the new version, because there's only one version which is any good at all, and that's the one that came out on television back in '67, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I'm sure everybody listening, I don't think there could even be two people who don't know about the character of the Grinch. And it's absolutely a fantastic movie. Chuck Jones, who one of the top animators from Warner Brothers in the heyday of Warner's, animated it. And Boris Karloff, the great Boris Karloff.
That worked.
As the voice of the Grinch. It's just perfect. It's short, yes, but that's okay, because it has everything it means to do. It's the perfect movie. The Jim Carrey version, frankly,
it's not the perfect movie.
Frankly, sucked. It's awful, and I like Jim Carrey, but he never should have said yes to this. And like I said, I don't care. I really like Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm not going to watch the new one because, again, you're not going to be better than what's already been done. You're just going to pad it out. So, no thanks.
There was a TV special about that a few years ago, about the making of and everything, and they touched on Boris Karloff doing the voice, and they said, what if it had been done by other voices? So they got voice actors to come in, and what if the Grinch was voiced by John Wayne, and they did that for a bit, and it was funny,
Oh my
but
God.
it did not work.
No, it would not work.
And they did that with a few. That's the only one I remember.
I'll have to find that because I love stuff like that about, if the movie's worth talking about. I love behind the scenes and just discussions on it. So very cool. Yeah, it's, we've had The Grinch voiced by Jim Carrey. Nope. And now it's Benedict Cumberbatch. And like I said,
it's better than Jim Carrey's, but
almost be better, but still, you're not going to surpass the version that's already been done. So
yeah, that's just a thing. Sorry.
Are we ready for our top three, or do we want to?
Well, actually, I think we can do that as our top three because for me, that was number 3.
Oh, there you go. I don't know if it would be number 3 for me, but for now, yeah, I'll go for that. I'll go for
that one. That one was really good.
Yeah, really, really good. Absolutely. I'll tag in with that as number 3 as well.
All right. Number 2 for me, I suppose, would be A Charlie Brown Christmas.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because I was afraid we weren't going to get to it.
No, we're going to get to that. And actually, like I said earlier in the show, Christmas carols irk me. Just some of them are nice and perky, and I don't mind that because that makes sense. But a lot of them are dreary and boring, and I'm like, you're celebrating, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to be doing? Silent Night sounds like it's being played on the wrong speed. But I had to take my daughter to school because she had a test in a different building, and she was doing the test, and I'm sitting in this office where they're playing Christmas carols, and to me it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. But then the Charlie Brown theme came on, and I went, why is this? Oh yeah, A Charlie Brown Christmas. It'll do. Play this 3 or 4 times, please, just to stop the other ones. So for me, on the music, this gets bumped up.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole story about it's not about the presents. It's not about it's about bringing people together, bringing family together, and everything, and friendships, and you don't have to have the biggest, most spectacular tree. You can have a twig with a ball on the end of it that makes it fall over, and that's fine. It's just a touching story, I think.
It is very. Vince Guaraldi, did the music, and the Vince Guaraldi trio, great jazz trio, and beautiful music in that, and absolutely, it doesn't make it, but it would be a very different entertainment without the music. The music is a very big part of it, but still the main part is the story. And we talked
Sorry, I'm just going. Limp Bizkit would have not been a very good soundtrack to the Charlie Brown movie.
Would not have worked. It would be a very different thing. We talked about this once before, that, of course, Charles Schulz created the series, and he worked on the show with CBS because this was like the first time this had been done. This is before The Grinch. And
it was, wasn't it?
Huh. CBS took a look at it, and they didn't like Linus reading from the Bible verse that Linus reads in the show, which is like a huge part of it. And they thought, oh, that's too religious and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we don't want to put that in there. And Schulz told him it had to be in that because that's like the story, because it's a Christmas movie, or said you can't have it at all. He was going to pull out entirely. So thankfully, Charles Schulz knew that what the hell he was doing above the network, which, gee, have we not heard that story a million times? Yeah, absolutely beautiful. At some given moments, it might be my favorite Christmas movie. Since you put it number 2, I'll say it was my number 4, just so I can mention 2 other movies.
Okay.
I mean, just fantastic. And again, so now we have 2 of our 3 movies, and they're both made for TV, and they're both these short little gems. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Absolutely. Because they're perfect. They didn't need to be fleshed out.
They don't need to be the 17-hour marathons that my wife is watching in the other room.
They don't. My number 2, and we've already mentioned it, but I'll go with Miracle on 34th Street. There's a scene there where a little Danish girl goes to see the department store Santa. And, she's a war orphan. This is 1947. And, this woman is taking care of her, and she explains to Kris Kringle, the old guy, who's just the department store Santa, oh, she doesn't know any English. I'm so sorry. She just wanted to see you. So, of course, he starts having a conversation with her. And I'm sorry, she was from Holland, in Dutch. And then they sing a Dutch Christmas song together. And it's just amazing. So, beautiful movie. Absolutely beautiful movie. Makes you think Santa Claus could be real.
Which, not a bad thing. And
No.
he's not played by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, no. Don't tell me that's your number one.
Jingle All the Way? Hell no. I'm putting that in the same category as Home Alone because basically they're making the same expression on the movie posters.
They are. I actually like Jingle All the Way, and I think I'm like one of 6 people on the planet. But anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. Arnold being 3 of them.
Yeah, probably.
My number one Christmas movie.
Wait.
Okay, yes, sorry.
You have the number one Christmas movie. You get the last call. I'll give you my one.
Yes, go ahead.
The part. We also already talked about this, and It's a Wonderful Life. Easily my number one Christmas movie because it's beautiful and it's about friendship and kindness and the human spirit. That's what it should be about. Absolutely perfect movie. Your number one, sir.
My number one is a controversial one because some people don't think it's a Christmas movie, but I have developed proof that Die Hard is in fact a Christmas movie. It takes place, let's start with, at the Nakatomi Plaza's Christmas party.
Yes.
I'm just saying. There's Christmas decorations. They listen to Run DMC's Christmas in Hollis to start the movie.
One of the great Christmas songs ever.
Which is, actually, it is a great Christmas song. I had never paid any attention to that song until a couple years ago, and then I listened to the lyrics and went, holy crap, this is a Christmas song.
It's a great Christmas song. Anyway, yes.
My apologies to Run DMC for putting it off for so long. But, yes, it's an action-adventure movie, lots of killing, lots of blood, lots of fight scenes and everything, and a helicopter blowing up on the top of a building and everything. How can this be a Christmas movie? Because John McClane's wife's name is Holly.
Is that the reason?
That's my reason, and I'm sticking with it. Why else would they have named her Holly? That's not a name you hear very often. And whenever you do, it's always because, when was your daughter born? Oh, she was born on the 24th of December, and so we thought we'd pick a Christmassy name. And you go, but you're Jewish. Why did you? Well, because Christmas has dominated everything. I would like to point out, I have never seen a Hanukkah movie.
You've never seen?
Is there one?
Yeah, they did a little animated thing with Adam Sandler and his...
No. I said a Hanukkah movie, not an Adam Sandler movie. I don't care if he's Jewish or not. I'm putting those in 2 separate categories. Adam Sandler does not make movies. He makes whatever the hell Adam Sandler makes.
Yeah, he hasn't made a movie since The Wedding Singer. I agree.
There you go. Die Hard's a Christmas movie, damn it.
And I'll say I've been on the other side of this argument discussion for decades, but I've come around to your viewpoint. Had the same discussion with Lee. And it's not because it takes place at Christmas. Lots of things can take place at Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah, I mentioned what Batman Returns takes place. That's not a Christmas movie, is it?
I agree. It's not a Christmas movie. But what's the big theme? It's not the plot, but what the big theme of Die Hard is, it's redemption. Yes. It's this guy, his life has fallen apart, and he just does what he's trying to do the right thing. No one believes in him, but he gets support from the one cop who believes in him. It hits those Christmas themes, absolutely, and it does have the guy falling off the building. And I know his name, and I know the character's name, and I know the actor's name, but if somehow you haven't seen Die Hard, I don't want to give the spoiler away, because it could have been someone else falling off the building. But as many people say, it's not Christmas until so-and-so falls off the Nakatomi Plaza. It's a Christmas movie.
Although, can I throw in my nifty bit of trivia that's come out of late about that?
Yes, please do, because that is a nifty bit of trivia. I love that.
It's a nifty bit of trivia. The expression on his face when they drop him, and they only dropped him like maybe 20 feet onto a mat, he's fine. The actor, at the time, was fine. But he was scared of heights, and I did not know this. And he said he was having trouble doing that, and they said, fine, look, what we're going to do is we're going to count to 3, we'll drop you on 3, and everything will be fine. 1, 2, and they dropped him, which was, it's just 1 tick sooner, but it's that 1 tick that made his face go, oh my God, they've dropped me early. And so it actually is a genuine expression on his face of, being dropped like that, which is beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. And that's one of the great performances ever. I mean, honestly, he should have been nominated for an Oscar for that. He's fantastic. And
I'll agree.
And Bruce Willis is really good. Bruce Willis is a fine actor. I mean,
I think that's the movie that made him take off out, because Moonlighting, everyone went, oh, he's a comedic actor and that's it. And they put him in this, and all of a sudden he's, the next big action star.
Yeah, and he could do some really good, serious, dramatic work. And this movie has those moments too. He's really, really good in this movie. And the other actor, who we won't name because, for the two people who've not seen it, so we don't give away a spoiler for a movie that came out decades ago.
He looks like that guy from Harry Potter, though. Have you noticed that?
He does look kind of like that one guy from Harry Potter. The big one. The big one who raised animals. No.
Oh, yeah. No.
Anyway, yeah, I agree. It's a Christmas movie. Finally, I agree. I've turned to the dark side.
Although, I am looking at a new Christmas movie called The Christmas Chronicles. There's a poster of, it claims to be Kurt Russell as Santa Claus, although it does look like Hagrid.
It does look somewhat like Hagrid.
I'm just saying.
The clips for that made me think no, even though I really think Kurt Russell is awesome. But I have heard from several people whose opinions on movies I typically trust, and they all said it was great. So I'll have to try The Christmas Chronicles on Netflix, for those of you streaming Netflix.
And we'll review that on the next Christmas special, which will be next year.
Yeah, there you go.
In the meantime, have a Merry Christmas, everybody, or whatever holiday you want to celebrate, because we're not picky. You celebrate whatever you want, and you know what? If you get bored halfway through Christmas, like I usually do, watch Die Hard, or just go see a movie.
Captain, we're losing power in the warp engines.
I think we should be leaving now.
I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
And on that unusually harmonious bombshell, it is time to end.
I am very disappointed!
Man, we have a weird job.
It's shameful, but, it's a living.
And like that, he's gone.
Hey, who turned out the lights?